are a church who prays, who cares, who shares. We're a church that engages in praying, in caring and sharing. We've already heard a bit about prayer. Let me add just a little bit more. When we pray, coincidences happen. And when we don't, they don't. You see, when we pray, coincidences happen. They happen. There was an elderly missionary from Africa who went back to his hometown in Scotland in order to call more people to the mission field. And it was a midweek, winter night, dark, cold, raining. He arrived at this church, and when he saw who was there, he was so discouraged. There was like 10 elderly women, and his heart sank. Tonight I was going to call people to the mission field. These are lovely women, but elderly. They're not going to be able to come to the mission field. So he was about to change his message when he decided, no, he would give the same message. And the same message was, there is desperate need in Africa. And he shared the vision with these women and hoped that they would pray and that God will raise up more people to go to Africa. He didn't know that at the top, where the organist was, who played some of the hymns, there was a little boy assisting the organist with the air. He didn't know that. The little boy heard the message to go to Africa. And at the end of the message, the little boy said, I will go. That little boy's name, David Livingstone. David Livingstone finds out, what's the best way for me to go to Africa? They tell him, you need be a doctor. So he becomes a doctor first, so that he can go and be a medical missionary. He goes. Anyway, his diaries are incredible. The diaries that he wrote about what happened and how they reached people and what God did is miraculous, miraculous. Anyway, one day, David Livingstone gets a message from a tribal chief. The tribal chief sends this message and says, we are going to come tonight to your compound and we are going to murder all of you. And he writes in his diary, Lord, is this the end? We have labored for you. We have served you. Is tonight the end of everything that we have ever done? And you can see in his diary the way he's like, his hand is trembling because it's not the same as the other writing. And it's like, it's kind of, Lord, are you going to help us? I don't know what's going to happen. Anyway, they didn't come and murder them. Later on, the chief becomes a follower of Jesus. And David Livingstone says to the chief, you sent me a message that you were going to come to the compound and murder us. He said, yes, yes. He said, well, what happened? He said, we came. We came. And when we came, there were 39 giants. 39 giants surrounding the compound. We had never seen giants like this before, so we ran. Anyway, right, a few years later, David Livingstone returns to his church in Scotland and he reports on the ministry in Africa and he tells this story. At the end of the meeting, this elderly gentleman came up to him and said, Dr. Livingstone, I have my diary here. I have my diary here. With that story about the giants, was it this day? He said, yes. He said, look, in my diary, there were 39 of us here praying for you. I have researched that story. These facts are correct. I've not fabricated it to make a good point. When we pray, coincidences happen. They happen. Killy and I, we're always praying. We're praying for divine appointments. And do you know, back to the Great Commission, it said the Great Commission, we are empowered by the Spirit to be witnesses in Jerusalem, Judea, Samaria, ends of the earth. What did Jerusalem represent to the first disciples? Well, that's where they denied Jesus. Peter denied him publicly. Where were they at the crucifixion? Only John was there. So Jesus was saying, I want you to start in the place of your greatest failure. Where is that for you and me? Where is that for our congregations? Family, friends, neighbours, colleagues. You see, we need to cultivate the web of relationships we've already got. If we're going to reach the world, we have to reach our world.